Good morning. My project is on energy efficient glider followed from nature. So, my team name is Aero Warrior and we are two members, Soumyaranjan Parida and Kumar Gaurav. And our project guide is Mr. Sivraj Siva Kumaran sir. He is ME Aerospace and HOD of our department. Let's see our project at a glance. So, what are the things we are going to discuss? That are energy, second glider basics, energy generator basics, flow over an airfoil, project concept, obstacles, solution for that obstacles, calculations, and proposed model. Now we are going to discuss first about energy. So energy, the driving source of whole universe. From the seeding of the plant to the Big Bang of universe is the glimpse of energy fluctuations. So also know the importance of energy. To utilize the energy in an efficient way is a matter of challenge. Even we should utilize the renewable sources like solar, wind, tidal, geothermal energy. So our purpose is to make a glider that can utilize the wind power to produce electricity. Now gliders. What are gliders? Glider is a heavier than air vehicle. Flight does not always depends on an engine. It may gliding. Now what is gliding? The process of flying without power is called gliding. Now the term came here is gliding ratio. So what is gliding ratio? Whenever an glider glides, the ratio between the horizontal distance traveled to the vertical height loss is called the gliding ratio of that glider. Now glide another term came into picture is gliding angle. What is gliding angle? It is the angle between the horizontal distance and the displacement from the one point to another at gliding flight. So that is the picture for the gliding ratio. You may see gliding angle. So you may see the glide angle here. Now soaring. What is soaring? The process of flying or rising high in the air is called soaring. There are basically two types of soaring. The first one is thermal soaring and the other one is wrist soaring. Now thermal soaring. In this type of soaring, aircraft rises high because of hot air in the local region goes up because of lower density due to its expansion. This may be due to temperature rise by the sun or any other reason. Now the other one is wrist soaring. In this type of soaring, aircraft rises high because of the wind blowing from the higher mountain. You may see in the picture how an aircraft takes support from the wind flowing from the higher mountain and rises up. Now what are the gist we faces in making that glider? So for an efficient glider we need some basic thing. First one is high lift by taking good airfoil. Second one is good horizontal flight by lowering drag. And the third one is low sink rate by reducing weight. Now we discuss something about generator and electricity as our project is about the power conservation. So first one we discuss about the generators. So what is generator? The generator is any device that converts the mechanical energy into electrical energy. So what are the working principle of the generators? The generator generally works on the Faraday's law. Now what is Faraday's law? Faraday's law states that any change in the magnetic environment of a coil of wire which causes a voltage or EMF to be induced in the coil, no matter how the change is produced, the voltage will be generated. The change could be produced by changing the magnetic field strength, moving a magnet toward or away from the coil, moving the coil into or out of the magnetic field, rotating the coil related to the magnet, etc. Now, what is the formula for that Faraday's law? The voltage generated or the EMF generated is equal to the negative of the n minus of n del BA by del T. Here n is the RPM, B is the magnetic field, A is the area, and T is the time taken. Now there are two types of electricity generator. First one is DC generator or dynamo. Second one is AC generator or alternator. See, there are two types of generator. First one is DC generator, and the second one is AC generator. DC generator always produces a positive current as shown in the figure, and the AC generator will produce positive and negative current both alternately. Now this is the diagram for DC generator. It is also called dynamo. It always gives a direct current because of split ring buses. Now AC generator. AC generator will give us AC output because of separate buses. Now that is the animation you may see here. Power generation in an AC generator. Here the power generator is AC. It is generating in both positive and negative direction. Now what is the basic formula for EMF? EMF is equal to B into Z into N by 60 into P by A, where V is the induced EMF, B is the magnetic field density, Z is the number of rotation, N is speed in RPM, P is the numbers of pole, and A is 2 for wave winding and 4 for lap winding. Now what is the gist we faced in producing power generation? Now there are three main gist we faced. First one is magnetic field density, second one is length of the wire, third one is the velocity of wire traveled through the magnetic field. Here we show the flow over an airfoil, how the air flow over an airfoil. Here we can also see some circulation over the airfoil. This is also the flow shown over an airfoil. This is how that red line shows us the circulation, the main area for circulation of an airfoil. See, this is the diagram showing us the starting vortex. See how the starting vortex is formed behind an airfoil, and for maintaining the overall circulation at zero, circulation is also formed over airfoil surface. See, this is an airfoil. At the rear of the airfoil you see the pressure increases. So due to high pressure, the air again returns and circulation will form. That is another way of understanding the circulation over an airfoil. Now that is again we are showing the circulation over an airfoil. Now Kutta condition. What is Kutta condition? A body with sharp trailing edge which is moving through a fluid will create about itself a circulation or sufficient strength to hold the rear stagnation point at a trailing edge. See, this is some diagram which can explain you Kutta condition. If you notice that a trailing vortex is formed at the back of the airfoil, so to maintain the overall circulation at zero, the circulation is also formed in the airfoil over the airfoil surface. When this circulation is equal to the circulation of starting vortex, at that time the stagnation point will stay at the trailing edge of the airfoil. See, the same thing is explained here about the circulation. Now what is the concept of our project? We know there is a circulation after the airfoil, so we put one dynamo behind the airfoil, so it will create the more power as it will create if it is placed anywhere else. The circulatory air will rotate the blade connected to the dynamo shaft, and the power will be generated. See, that is what I'm saying. You can see here a dynamo, a rotor is put behind the airfoil, and due to circulation it is moving. Now basic requirement. So for efficient gliding we need two things: high lift, low drag. Now what is lift? Generally we all know that lift is the normal force caused due to pressure difference between the upper and the lower surface of the airfoil. So the more will be the pressure difference, the more will be the lift. The pressure difference will be more if the upper surface has more dynamic pressure and the lower surface has less dynamic pressure. So the airfoil like NACA 612 is a suitable option. So for effective power generation, we need three things as we discussed before: more number of coils, high magnetic field, high velocity produce higher RPM in dynamo. Now this is NACA 6312 airfoil. It has higher highly cambered upper surface, so it is good for producing high lift. Now, what are the obstacles we faced in that airfoil when choosing that airfoil? The higher number of coils and higher magnetic field can we get from a magnet of high weight, so it will increase the weight of our glider, and so it will cover very less distance through gliding, and it will also decrease the effective lift. Then the only next option remains is high velocity. So how can we increase the velocity of the air? So in an airplane, for a certain speed of x velocity, the only reason where we can get higher velocity more than x is the aft part of the airfoil section, because of velocity gradient due to the camber of the airfoil. The velocity gradient creates a high circulation, so the more will be the camber of the more will be the increasing velocity gradient due to curved surface. Although the boundary layer will separate in high angle of attack, for glider we don't need high angle of attack, so that is not a problem. For attaining maximum circulation after an airfoil, we need to maintain the Kutta condition. But Naka 6312 airfoil series in high speed encounters a problem in attaining Kutta condition. This produces the circulation and result for a component out of the plane due to their cross product. This also it reduces the circulation over the airfoil. So we can get high lift from that airfoil, but it doesn't satisfy Kutta condition. So we have to make some modification to that airfoil so that we can also satisfy Kutta condition and also get high lift. So to attain the Kutta condition, we need a kind of airfoil section having the second half of the airfoil section is cambered and smooth. Let's see, this is where we can satisfy Kutta condition when we have a curved trailing edge where there are two velocity upper surface having velocity v2, lower surface having velocity v1. At that point v1 is equal to v2, so Kutta condition is satisfied. Now what the gist we facing in that? So we need an airfoil having three things. First one, highly cambered upper surface. Second one, less cambered for first half in lower surface. Third one, suitably cambered for second half in lower surface. So what is the solution for that problem? The answer is Mother Nature. How can we solve that problem? Nature has given us a good example for this solution, that is eagle. There are so many birds they can glide, for example albatross, falcon, etc. Then why we choose eagle? There is a reason for choosing an eagle. It has multiple capability, for example gliding, soaring, driving and maneuvering. How does it manage to do so? What does it do to do that? So the concept behind it is multi-cambering theory. It can change camber of its wing to manage to do all the thing very perfectly. See, this is a picture. We can see different camber at different point maintained by the eagle. So this is example of the multi-cambering wing. It can change the position and of its wing so that multi-cambering is possible, and it can successfully do all the tasks like maneuvering, diving, etc. See, there is one more pic for that, showing the multi-cambering capability of an eagle. In this concept, we merge two airfoils for same chord length. The upper half of S11223 and the lower half of GOE 567. Now this is the S1223 airfoil. In this airfoil, we are having a highly cambered upper surface for creating good lift. So it is well and good, but the lower surface is also curved, so we can't satisfy Kutta condition. So what we will do? We will take the lower part of GOE 567 airfoil. In this airfoil, we can also satisfy Kutta condition and can generate circulation. It will also give us good lift. In this concept, we merge two airfoils same chord length, that is S1223 and lower half of GOE 567. After joining two airfoil, we get a new airfoil as shown in the figure. Now what are the calculations we made in our glider? See, let the velocity of air before airfoil is v1, and after airfoil the velocity of air will be v2. So how v2 will change? V2 will equal to the v1 plus dv by ds into ds. Now we know that linear velocity is equal to v is equal to omega r, where omega is the angular velocity. So we change omega into 2 pi n by 60, so v is equal to 2 pi r n by 60. Now the number, so n will be equal to 30v by pi r. There is another formula for finding EMF, induced EMF, that is phi z into n by 60 into p by a. Taking the value of n by 60 from the above equation, we get E equal to phi into z into v by 2 pi r into p by a. So taking the v outside, we get E is equal to phi into z into 1 by 2 pi r into p by a into v. So taking the all thing as constant, leaving the v, so we get a formula E into x is equal to x into v, where x is a constant. So where E is equal to induced EMF, phi is equal to flux per pole, z is equal to number of conductors, n is equal to rpm, p is equal to number of poles, a is equal to winding value. Thank you for listening our project. Thank you. स्टॉप करो फिर